I'm Valentina from Ukraine.
And I'm Mr. East from the US.
We decided to leave America and move to my beloved motherland.
In the middle of a war.
We are on a mission.
A mission from God, you might say.
A mission to explore this beautiful country with its rich culture and history, gorgeous landscapes, and world-class cuisine.
And to get to know its great people.
And we invite you to join us as we travel around this little-known corner of Europe, here on the east of the West.
Follow us as we explore fascinating Chernivtsi, one of Ukraine's most beautiful cities.
As we roam up and down Kobylanska Street in the historic heart of the city.
As we hop around the historic city squares.
As we meet Valentina's parents, and her mother takes us down into her private dungeon. That's right, this is Valentina's hometown.
As Mr. East shares his own memories of Chernivtsi and how he was warned about Chernivtsi girls. A warning he clearly ignored.
As we visit the city's most popular attraction, its university, one of the finest in the country, although it looks like it was designed by Lewis Carroll.
So come along with us as we explore
Chernivtsi!
Okay. Один. Okay, один, два, три. So heading back to the hometown, huh?
Hi. Yes, it's very mixed feeling. I'm very excited and also very anxious at the same time. I don't know how it's gonna look like now, and I know some friends who are still there. My parents are still there. My parents told me that a lot of people from the east and Kiev moved to my hometown, and I hope that it's gonna be a good home for them. And yeah, let's stay hopeful. I wish everyone good luck.
Since we're going back to Chernivtsi, I'm taking the opportunity to read an old favorite, Snows of Yesteryear by Gregor von Ritzory. This is an autobiography written by a fellow who grew up in what is now Chernivtsi. They give him the Chernivtsi booklet now.
These people just came from Zaporizhia, the whole train of kids with parents. They are gonna stay here in Chernivtsi.
Because there's conflict going on in
Yes.
Zaporizhia now.
And a lot of trains of evacuated people come to Chernivtsi. This is a craft beer place, but you see the name. It says Chorny Vivci, which means black sheep. And some people think that the name of the city, Chernivtsi, comes from black sheep. Chorny Vivci. It feels very surreal walking the streets of Chernivtsi again. I still can't believe that we are back. Задекорували. Так. Dad made a lot of wine for us this year.
Dad made the wine.
Yeah. Mom made a lot of strawberry jam.
And Mom made strawberry.
Jimenez nicht lang zurück, man grüner Gold in Moske. Die Losotera war mit Kinder dort nicht so Botke. Jetzt wenn ihr so sein, man Gold in der Macher, la Partiner. Meiden kriegt auf dem Dorf, na brennt das Wälder grüner. Fährt man Cousin du mit der blonder Ziele, die Bob de Hura kurz die Kleid, lass ihm Gewache Zille, die Hassene bestimmt beim Wodka, nimmt da Machaie, wer da die grüne Pinsel Wodka, der du anaie.
And the sign's still here too, but I don't know if this place is still in business. We looked online, we couldn't find any trace of it. So, but when I first came to Chernivtsi in 2016, before Valentina and I even met, I visited her hometown. So, and this is the place I stayed, and I remember there was a sign on the wall warning travelers about Chernivtsi girls, especially in bars and nightclubs. Kind of like, watch your wallet. So I thought that was pretty funny. If I find that sign, I'll post it in our video.
Around 150 plus men come to this hostel each year to meet girls from the internet. It goes wrong 99.99% of the time. That's quite a statistic.
Wow! Seems like you have a better chance of winning the lottery.
And then, hilariously, right next to it, there is a little card that somebody clearly had made himself. It says, "One wife wanted, I am American speaker only," and gives his email address and telephone number. So, Now this one. The dating site's advertisements and revenue generated keeps the illusion that men can come to Ukraine, and in the same way that you would order a book from Amazon.com, you can order up a stunning, beautiful woman as a wife. It is not true. After living in Ukraine 7 years and several thousands men passing through our hostels in a search of a wife online, they all fail. And then we have this handy list of things you shouldn't do. Number 1, buy any girl's engagement rings. Number 2, buy them mobile phones, computers, lingerie, etc. from the shops they choose. You should choose the shop. Number 4, take 2 girls out for a date, even if she asks to bring a friend along. It may seem cool to feel like Snoop Dogg, but 2 times the girls equals 2 times the sushi plus 2 times the cocktails. You're being scammed.
If she's really bold, she'll bring 3 or 4 friends, and maybe even her parents.
Number 8, pay translators that the dating agencies arranged. They are overcharging you, and most of the time the girls do speak English.
Sometimes it can be very convenient to pretend that you don't.
There are teams of girls paying their way through university by scamming men who look for love online. These young ladies are highly educated, very intelligent, and they already evaluated the mark before he arrives. If your girl doesn't show up, this happens 50% of the time, do not be sad.
Don't cry, poor little Mark.
If your girl never showed up, and for some reason you really want to find her, try looking in reception of Hotel Bukovina, Egoist Palace on Thursday night, Pub 34, or entrance to the apartments of Knaus.
Where are we?
Here we are in one of our main squares in Chernivtsi, and this is the theater square.
You got a cool university, philharmonic, art museums, theater.
And this one is named after Olha Kobylanska, as well as our main walking street. So Kobylanska was a very good novel writer, woman from this region, and she actually was born in my dad's village, far from Chernivtsi. Pigeons love her. The building you see behind me was built in 1908 as a Jewish cultural center. Today it's a Jewish museum. I remember many times in the evening I was coming to this spot and I was dreaming about getting out of Chernivtsi.
So we had a unique experience last night. It was unique to us, but unfortunately not to many people here in Ukraine. You want to talk about it?
I woke up because of the sound outside of the apartment. It was sound of shooting, and when I realized it, I got up and went to see my dad in another room. He was awake too because he heard the same thing, but he told me to go back to bed because probably it's not in the city, it's somewhere outside on the outskirts of Chernivtsi. So it was really scary, but I managed to go back to bed. And another time I woke up, it was the sound of some bomb dropping. Yeah, pretty scary. Couldn't sleep. And I don't know how people in Kiev live with this. Pretty much every night, attacks. Must be really tough.
Yeah. I don't know if the booming sounds we heard, because we heard the boom, 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 followed by so I don't know if these were actual bombs dropping sounds or if it was some kind of cannon, big guns that they were shooting up at the drones that were in the sky. But certainly an unusual experience, quite frightening.
Yeah.
And we found out from the Chernivtsi news that some buildings were destroyed and 2 people were killed, several people were injured. So Chernivtsi here generally is not getting attacked very often. So this was unexpected. And I read in the English language news reports that this last night's attacks were centered on West Ukraine, whereas ordinarily they're in East Ukraine or in Kiev. So they're expanding their attacks. But as you can see behind us as we walk, people are still walking here in the center walking street. Still restaurants and cafes that are full of people. They're still taking waiting photos up ahead of us. So
Everyone seems pretty relaxed. So this side makes me very sad because I remember no graffiti around, and this is a historic site. It's very interesting building. It is a traditional Turkish well. During the Ottoman Empire, this was the only source of water for the citizens of Chernivtsi. Chernivtsi struggled with water because it's very deep and people couldn't reach the level of water. So it used to be a communal well and the oldest source of water. And there is also an interesting legend connected to this well. The Pasha came to Chernivtsi and he fell in love with the local girl. So she refused his love, even though he offered her to become one of his wives. And he threatened to leave the citizens without the access to water, the only source of water in town. And in order to protest, she drowned herself in this well. Here we are in one of our 5 squares in Chernivtsi. This is called Philharmonic Square for the obvious reason, because if you look to my left, that's the building of Philharmonic. And there is a nice fountain in the center. The fun part about the square that sometimes they have some live concerts. They put the stage over there, and people can dance and have fun. Do you see that building behind me? It says Hotel Bristol. One funny thing about this building that during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, it used to be a brothel.
So, can you say a little bit about what it was like growing up here and how you felt about it, and maybe how it felt to finally leave? Because I know you spent most of your life here in Chernivtsi.
Yes, it's true. So my early childhood memories are connected to the Soviet Union collapse. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, and my childhood early memories are related to that crisis in the society, because people just were so confused. They didn't know how to live anymore. The old system didn't work, but how to have this new system. No one had any solutions. A lot of painful memories are here in Chernivtsi, but I also want to tell you about my granny, because basically now I realized just recently that I had two different childhood memories. One was in the city of Chernivtsi, where I spent 9 months in a year, and my second childhood was with my granny in the countryside, which was very fairy tale like experience. And after being with the granny in the countryside, it was very difficult for me to come back to this the city life.
Paul Celan birthplace. So, Paul Celan is Chernivtsi's most famous literary son. He wrote very dark poems in the German language, generally on, often on Holocaust-related themes. Both of his parents were killed in the Holocaust, and he himself ended up drowning himself in the Seine River in Paris at the age of 49. So, but even in English, the poems are quite memorable. So this is the Literature Zentrum of Paul Celan. Also an excellent writer. Her, I don't know. Here we are at Chernivtsy's very own UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is the Chernivtsi University. It was completed in 1882. Took about 18 years to build. And originally it was a bishop's residence, but in the 1950s, during the Soviet times, it was made into a university. And today it's still a university, still a very big popular university. It's summertime now, so the students are off having their break. But you're welcome to come and explore the grounds at any time you want. It's a small ticket fee, but definitely highly recommended.
So, my mother says if you're not afraid of scary things, follow her.
Down into the storage space / bomb shelter.
That's where she keeps all her preserves.
Look at that lock.
Так, дивися,
After
що у
you.
нас тут є.
Right.
Це наш особистий підвал.
That's our private property.
Бачиш, що ми тут маємо?
Look at
Так.
this.
Дивися, ще одна баночка цього є.
Oh, she has even more than the last time we were
Yes,
here.
a jar of
Так,
pickles.
бачиш, і от треба буде зробити нам трохи ремонт, бо бач,
They
відійшла
need to-
ця коробка і стілаж от може
Yeah, they
завалитися.
need to do
Тому
some
будемо робити тут ремонт і це все порядкувати.
renovation around
І
here.
все порядкувати.
Might collapse soon.
Бачиш? А це наші закрутки, дивися, ми можемо.
Right.
Подивися, скільки закруток.
Look,
Там,
it's all
там.
What am-
my
От,
house-made product.
бачиш,
Oh,
скільки у нас всього
can-
є. А оце,
Візьми щось покажи.
What are we looking at?
Звідки? Опиши цей продукції.
так, це у нас яблучне повідло.
This is the apple jam.
Mm-hmm.
Яблучне повідло.
Що ще?
Можу дати вам.
I can give it
Тепер
to
що,
you.
соків
Oh, great.
багато.
We'll take it.
Mhm.
От сок,
Tomato
томатний
juice.
сік, сік
Her
томатний.
own tomatoes.
Так, томатний сік і от вареничко. Оце вишневе.
This
Джем
is
вишневий.
cherry jam.
Джем вишневий. Так, і отут, оце ще оце салат український. Тут перчик, цибулька, помідорка і
This is
перчик,
the
цибулька.
vegetable, the
І
mixed
морква.
vegetable
Морква.
salad.
Грибочки ще в нас є великі, малесенькі,
That's
гарнесенькі.
The
Бачиш?
forest mushrooms.
Да.
Mm-hmm.
От. І зробили запас олій.
And we
Це
also
натуральна олія.
have some natural
Натуральна
oil.
олія. Зробили
Jars.
запас. Не з тим, що знаєш, бензином.
So that's our
Як це називається? Фракція.
war preparation stock.
Так багато томатного соку є,
Lot
Кріс.
of tomato
Береш,
juice.
от, в собственному соку,
She wants to
в собственному
give you
соку
some
помідорки.
tomato juice.
Так, що ще можу тобі? Так, томатний сочок даю.
Do you want some mushrooms and
Так, в собственному
pickles?
соку
Sure,
пару
I'll take
баночок.
some.
Ні-ні,
mushrooms and
дай
pickles.
просто
Томатний
сік.
просто?
Так.
Томатний
Yes.
сік. Чекай, це теж томатний. Так, це теж помідори. Це теж салат.
Мгм.
Зараз. От томатний сік.
Okay.
Раз.
One tomato juice.
Mm-hmm.
От томатний сік.
Okay. 2 jars of tomato juice.
Mm-hmm.
І от
The
томатний
more the
No, no,
merrier.
no, that's okay. 3 jars of tomato juice. That's
Okay.
enough.
Що ще вам дати? Варення?
She
Do you
does.
want some
Okay.
jam?
She does know that we're on foot largely, right?
Клубнічні варення.
We're relying on.
Або ще
Public
можу дати
transport.
оцей салат такий
She can give some
український. Салат. Щоб
vegetable
берете
salad.
Okay.
картошечку, вермишельку і маєте готовий супчик.
Like
Цього
potato.
маєте
You
готовий
just
суп.
mix with potato.
Дуже швидко.
And
готується.
it's already a soup.
Дуже швидко готується
Very
супчик.
fast.
Так, що ще вам дати? Виноградний сок.
Grape juice.
Виноградний сок. Так, що ще вам дати? Оце джем вишневий. Можете дуже
Cherry
вкусний.
jam.
Дуже
Ну,
вкусний
окей.
джем
You
вишневий.
want cherry or strawberry jam?
Джем
Whichever you prefer, my dear.
робити ступці
Okay.
для воріт.
Boy,
для
this is scary enough. Let's get out of here.
порядочок робити. Порядочок ще зробимо.
That's where in the early days, so when the war started, they came to this space with their neighbors
О,
during the sirens, during the alarm, because no one knew anything. No one had any information where the missiles were coming from and where they were supposed to hit. So people were just hiding. That was the space for my parents to hide.
Це настоящий показник, коли буде тепло. Оцей холодник. Тепер дивися, оцього я відсадила, оцю розочку. Бач, від цієї основної рози. Бач, сливки є ще. Сливки. Оце дуже гарно цвіло на цій сливці.
That's a nice plum
Да.
tree.
Да, на сливці гарно повертали. А тепер, от подивися, є м'ята.
This is mint.
М'ята. Раз. М'ята.
Мгм.
І от
That's good.
в селі дуже багато всього. Крізь це треба їхати і дивитися. Так ти нічого не зрозумієш. Тому що це дуже багато всього в мене. Оце
Has
було
much more
оце розове,
things in the village.
розова ця така.
25k away from Chernivtsi.
Цвіли оцей
And
кущ,
she grows
бачиш?
there all sorts of stuff.
Двоцвітна. Оце о, бачиш, оце о, б'ющийся,
Here
оце
you can see
двоцвітна.
some grapes,
Вона цвіла, вже відцвіла, бачиш?
roses.
Але може пусти ще, бо я А, є попереду.
Так, в селі в тебе скільки зараз видів помідор?
Помідор там за 10 видів помідор.
This year she has only 10 varieties of tomatoes,
Тут були
but
клубніка
last
багато
year
трохи.
she had 20 varieties of tomatoes. So yeah.
Але вона вже відцвіла.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to go out there this trip. Maybe next time.
Зараз в незалежній Україні ви відчуваєте позитивні зміни порівняно з радянським
Так.
Союзом?
Я дуже задоволена, що на кінець-то ми можемо розмовляти і чути українську мову. Я не думала, що це станеться, що люди, українці, яких зарусифікували, перейдуть на українську мову. От.
Пострадянський простір, от переломний цей момент.
Ой, було важко, дуже важко.
Very
Безроботиця була, не було де влаштуватися. Всі підприємства, дуже багато підприємств
Ліквідувалися.
ліквідувалися і не було. Було важко дуже. Була депресія у багатьох людей. Багато пішло в торгівлю, багато. Да. Оце все помінялося дуже багато. І дуже багато людей працювали на виробництвах. Цього і всім прийшлося хто куди. Дуже багато місцевого населення повиїжджало за кордон, заробляти там.
Ви вирощували 3 дітей, ви піднімали 3 дітей в цей час. Що було найважчим в тому, щоб в цьому просторі, пострадянському просторі?
Матеріальна недостатність, тому що дітей треба було одягати, дітей було треба, як кажуть, забезпечувати матеріально, а не було цієї можливості, тому що малі зарплати були і нехватка товару. Дещо інколи викидалося, то страшні були черги. І от треба було виділити цей час, все покинути і цей час стояти в черзі, щоб щось купити. Щоб щось купити дітям там.
Які у вас були мрії?
Ну, у мене мрія була дітей вивчити, і щоб вони були щасливі, щасливіше за нас. Щасливіше за нас, щоб були, щоб ми знайшли собі.
Яке у вас
Це моє.
побажання для України?
Щоб Україна виграла і щоб Україна відновилася і стала духовним наставником для інших народів.
Men is nicht lang zu riech, man griner kommt in Moske. Los und Terra war mit Kinder dürfen nicht so fortgehen. Jetzt wenn ihr so sehen, man kommt in der Macher, da Partiner. Meiden kriegt auf dem Dorf, da brennt das Wälder grüner.